Hey Vicki.
Now, is that working?
Very good.
Yes,
Are we
it's on.
liking it?
I can hear you. You're good.
Okay, let's rock.
Okay. So just hold on a second here. So this is just a pre-record. Getting clicking noises.
Is she
Because I
starting?
turned you up.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me good now?
I'm rocking.
Okay.
All right. So this is going to be a pre-record. You just going to be a general reading, whatever you want, wherever you want to go. This is going to be going on a show. We're pre-recording actually 12 shows this weekend, and you are the 5th one that we've recorded today. And the last one was really, really special, and it's just how the synchronicities of everything's come together. So we're going to start in about 5 seconds. Let me just let Kat see the camera. Take the lighter out of the picture.
Okay, rolling. Go.
Welcome, everyone, to another Adventures into Reality reading session. We are joined today from Vicki from Australia. Welcome to the show, Vicki.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Well, I am so glad to have you on. How did you find out about my material?
Wow. I don't know. Actually, I think I found out about it from a guy I listened to on YouTube called Richie or Richie Rich or something. I forgot his moniker. But he was saying something about your work, and I looked it up, and I watched all those ones that you did with that mystic dude. You know what's his name? I love that guy. Yeah. And I was so inspired because some of the things that you mentioned really triggered memories for me, and also really clarified memories for me. So that's how I got onto your work. I can't remember if it was any other way, but I'm pretty sure it was Richie.
Okay, so you've heard the material. So what about it has really jumped out? Is it the broadness and the spectrum? What was it that brought you here?
You mean to request a reading from you?
No, in general with the material.
To
What
you?
was it? Yeah, what was it?
I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I want someone to talk the way I talk, and I found that you did. I found that you got to see. I don't subscribe to a lot of the dogma that sounds, and I found that when I listened to your stuff, it went through the dogma, and it also allowed me to decide myself. I didn't feel like I was being too preached at, which I do like.
That I understand. So you do readings then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how this works. You have the Akashic record of this world and 20,000 other worlds open to you. What questions do you have?
Well, I mean, I think that a broad one to start for me is like, if you look into my mission, for want of a better word, if you look into my record now, what would say my purpose, my main purpose was being in this live stream here and now?
All right, just 1 second. I'm going to build your Akashic frequency of what brought you here. The last dream frequency you have here is with the emerald crystals. All right, so first thing first is you come across as a very powerful multidimensional being. You are doing far more work than you are in the dream world than you are in the physical world. But the amount of physical world work that you've done since your inception is been vast. I would say you've outraced everyone that's ever competed to you since spiritual.
Sorry, it was just a funny way of saying it, but I appreciate it. Continue.
So you have set the bar so damn high that no one else is your equal.
Oh, babes.
And when you have no peers, you only have followers. And you fall into the biggest karmic trap that you don't want. You don't want followers. You want people to believe in themselves, and there's a co-creative group where no one is following, but everyone's their self-leader.
Can you say that again?
So everyone is a co-creative self-leader.
Yes.
Okay. So when people understand that linguistics and have to figure out a way to apply to them, it means apply them to the self. That means they must know what sovereignty from themselves and the system is, as well as the system in which they are consciously applying sacredness to. And I see you teaching 7, 8, 9 different kinds of systems very easily from the amount of energy that's in your dream world. You have a clear, what I will call, access to filters of information that you've been storing for 25, 30 years. And in some scenarios, in the actual DNA lineage that you're in right now, about 38,000 years ago, is where you began a plan of seeding memories into lineage in a predictive model of where you might exist 38,000 years from that fraud time point.
Dig it.
So this is kind of, I've seen so much of this when dealing with people at the upper echelons of the system of domination and control who have tried to break off and break away from what the system was doing 12 million, 18 million years ago. This is classic resistance-free Earth, but at the higher levels where it has some pretty advanced details in it. So when I'm looking at this stream here, this is what you are bringing into this reality. And then this one here, when in the video, it's like it's what you're bringing into the other paradox time streams, because you're consciously applying your sacred energies on different expressions of time. So whatever healing modality that you've been doing has been giving a pulse into the nexus system that where you're at, and this pulse is like acting as a heartbeat assistance for the energy in the earth in the area that you're doing. And you've set this pulse, which has allowed many sacred groves of trees that were seeds that have been in the ocean or have been washed up on the shore to actually begin to hatch. And these have been ancient dreaming masters that have been waiting for an anchor person to set the bar of energy high enough so that seedlings from the raw dream world can hatch anywhere on the ocean shores.
Oh my God, you're so fucking spot on. You are raging. Keep going.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now what
I'm
I'm
loving
seeing,
it. Thank you.
okay, what I'm seeing now is your next step into this understanding is getting a visualization of a beach with like 25 or 30 coconut floating in the water, and you reaching out there and netting a bunch of them and seeding them on a dream island. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you're going to create this dream island. You're going to visualize it. You may even share it with some other people that you want to share this imagery with. And you are going to make that the Sacred Grove Healing Island. Okay?
Ooh.
And it is open for any being in unity consciousness that is dipping into fraud time and is coming out dirty and needs time to reconnect. That includes all of the ocean species and all of the surface species or hollow earth. This realm does not matter where you are or what you do. It is about the process of healing. And if you set the rules up with these sacred groves and the imagery of the coconut trees going on, and you give them the age and power of heart space from love, these trees will go rapidly in that dream space, and then you'll be able to create a physical altar portal on your land or your prayer grounds that you can bring physical people to so they can have an individual connection to that dream healing island.
Dig it.
Okay, you have that ability to create these cipher-based portals for individuals. There are a number of other types of things where you can create, where let's say instead of sacred groves and an island, we're looking at a lake that is teeming with fish, and there are no significant people fishing the lake. It is in its own perfect microcosm, and around the lake there's large amounts of wildlife, and you set a camp there, and from that camp you are going to build these, we'll call them emergency beds, for souls to come out of predator prey and to sleep for one night in a place that has no predator prey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are some very powerful expressions for you to take on in your own teachings that you have with the people that are beginning to follow you in the dream world as well as follow you in the physical world. You have this opportunity, which I will say, to catch the glint in your eye, where 1,000 people will catch the glint in your eye, and you will transfer to them decades of wisdom.
Dig it. I totally dig it.
Okay, so what other
Because
kind
I'm
of
really into transmission. That's what I think I get from your stuff, is that when I listen to you, you transmit as well as just speak. And so I understand what you're saying, that transmission is far more important than words.
Correct. It would help that if you decided to really practice linguistics, like maybe picking up a study guide like college people use that's just for linguistics, just for new words that you wouldn't normally use, so that you have a new photonic light mental expression attached to a word that has a definition, that has sound, that also can be used in the manipulation of your heart space, so that the true frequency of what the word is comes through and not the spell of the word.
Dig it.
So what other kind of questions do you have?
Oh, well, I'm sort of a bit flabbergasted at what you just said, but it's interesting because at the moment, what I'm experimenting with is that we do this thing called Ramu Tech, which is like we connect with our essence. And we connect with the essence of Mu, or we call Earth Mu, and Ra, who we call Ra, the creative frequency. And doing that, what I've been doing is opening portals to the elemental realm to bring Devas into machine-cut crystals, because I don't think machine-cut crystals have a soul. I think it's all gone, or it's suppressed or traumatized or whatever. And so when you're saying this thing about being able to open up portals on the land, it's kind of like that's what I'm really working towards. And I thought I'd start with Devas, and work my way up.
I have something even easier for you to do.
Do me.
Ice.
Is that a drug?
No, ice, as in the water turned into
Oh,
ice.
right. Oh,
Okay.
like the Masimoto guy, the Japanese dude.
Well, no, in even a more important way, you're a portal creator. When you have water that you put your prayer essence into, and your imagery of what you're doing in your dream world, and you upload into it, you've given it programming. Water
Yes.
is programmable, and it is a crystalline
Absolutely.
structure. And then when you freeze that water that has that crystalline structure, you can use that in energetic healing rituals on yourself or others, as well as compound that energy in there. And let's say you do a tray of ice and you give it an hour of ceremonial prayer time, then you freeze it. And the next time you do ceremony, you take it out of the freezer, you melt it by the fire, and you put more into it. And you do that more and more and more until you have a tray of ice that's got like 6, 10, or 15 hours of your energy into it. And you on your ice shelf right there have an incredible, powerful healing or teaching tool through alchemy.
Mm.
You don't need to worry about the cut crystals right now. And cut crystals, yes, they do go through trauma, but once you understand the programming of water, you will understand the crystals at a 10th dimensional level.
Mm.
And I mean 10th dimensional. You have that within your soul frequency. Is understanding how we program water, because water is ultimately what creates the crystals also.
Mm.
They are an equal co-creation to that, and the crystalline beings are on their own dimensional network and have their own way of communicating through water, through the programs of water, and how it filters through the entire layer of reality on all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universe.
Absolutely.
So what other kind of questions do you have?
Well, listen, when did we last meet, babes? I've kind of got a few memories of you off planet. So what's your take on that?
What's my take on the last time meeting Vicki off-world?
Off-world.
Off-world. Let me look. Me, you. Timeline paradox 1, timeline paradox 2, timeline paradox 3, timeline paradox 4. Pull that here. Well, they've tried to get us to meet a bunch of first different times. The very first time we met as a natural synchronicity and not as a manipulation of technology, time, or belief. I would have been in the Ildor Cora section of the Navran Nebula. The Navran Nebula is a galaxy-wide nebula, and it has no central sun. It has a bunch of smaller exterior central suns that make up a sphere, massive sphere of what that nebula is. And the nebula is the size of a galaxy. Everything that lives in there is an energy being. And we were on the membrane where they leave their galaxy and back into material form. There's a space between there where lots of nebula energy just coalesces in the void space. And we would have met as beings that were consciously saying, we are going to let go of I am presence technology, and we're going to go into this void space. And when we come out, we are going to have an upgrade to our I am presence technology. So we met as a point when we were literally forgetting we were people, places, things, and expressions, and we became channels of light in waves of expressions of energy migrating from one section of a gaseous nebula to another expression of void space where there was no I am presence. And there we shared space with hundreds and millions of other beings who had been locked outside of time. Right there is where you and I first discovered what would be timeline genocide. It is our first expression in unentangled observer status of how detrimental it was to having ancestorless beings connected to no space or time at the universal source. And we both began a process to integrate as much information about these people in no time and then transit back into an I am presence with all of their information as a void space equivalent of a Akashic record, because inside the void space there's no Akashic record, so that we could transfer from that paradox and upload to a planetary sentience that these beings still exist. And you, me, and tens of thousands of other source streams who had gone on this process from the nebula into the void space also discovered this, and we began a coalition of like-minded people who began to upload soul codes into special crystalline vessels and to begin spreading them to those planets that had lost their experience, so that those souls in the astral world could get an ancestral connection, because we could bring their links back to them, because we carried in our I am presence DNA technology from void space to manifest space what was going on in void space time.
Holy shit, I think I need to inhale or listen to that again. That was pretty fun, babe.
Yeah, well, there are times in this skill set that I do that I can up the linguistics because of the person receiving it and the experiences you've had in your parasympathetic body.
Oh, yeah, I'm tingling. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. That means you've had
fantastic.
It means you've had thousands of experiences this lifetime, and without those thousands of experiences, I couldn't have progressed to that highest frequency. And now all the other people that are going to be listening to this in the future are now experiencing a universal non-existence moment of transition from thought, space, and memory. That's the gift that you brought to this show.
Hooray.
So, what kind of follow-up question do you have to that?
Oh, fucking hell. I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, I sort of actually want to ask more about your experience, because, you know, you seem to translate everybody else's. And I know that after a while, people react and think, oh, wow, that's whatever. What I'm trying to say is, when you go through that experience of that upload, reload, memory, whatever, what's happening for you now? You know, where does it take you?
Well, I'm game if you want to ask me questions like that. Let's ask a more mechanical question. So something from your knowingness. Let's say you're trying to know what I'm going through. Well, I'm making a transition from being a regular radio host to putting on a TV station. So the scale in which I'm bringing the talent is much different. As people can see in this broadcast, you know, we are using TriCaster technology, everything that a major TV station can do, and we're going to take it to that level. I think about so many of the other shows where I went even more high frequency than this, and I realized that I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to put the infinite source stream on the line every day of every second, because the world has changed that much. And I made a choice with a slight little bit of martyrdom about myself to turn it on that hard. And did it beat me up? No, it was a roller coaster of experience, and I put my arms up and got scared a few times. But again, it was just an experience. I've already perceived unity consciousness in the future. So for this I am presence, I'm making choices about my short-term future, my long-term future, and having to manage the scale change from in which I operate, doing shows like this regularly, pre-recording them, putting together a fourth dimensional business plan so that people can see you can do business a different way, that you no longer
You're
need
right.
the old rules. You can do it. This is a studio we're able to put together and get all the technology that everyone has, because the technology is there for everyone. Just got to want to use it. So for me, it's understanding who I'm going to be working with on a whole new level. I put out so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of material that it's all going to become scalable, searchable. There's going to be translated into 50 languages. So all that's coming. So for me, the audience is going to expand from not just the master adepts who have found me, because that's what I've attracted at this point. Is what I brought into my signature frequency, as many of them powerful adepts to come forward and say, here's the source stream. I'm putting it all the way up high. Match me or beat me, please. We need them. So for me, it's being able to pass the torch of wisdom on, and not just these individual transmissions, but to have conversations like this with you at such a connective level, because we are changing time and space by the conversation you're having. It's not just the private audience that's here in this little room right here. There's a future listening audience and the live no time audience. I look at you and I see 7, 8, 9 million beings looking in at you. And I add my crown chakra, and we're up to 2, 3, 4 billion beings. I make choices like this to broadcast this show, not just on the physical human network, but to all the psychic networks that I'm talking to in an unentangled transmission, meaning I'm not sending karma to them. They're not sending karma of observance back to me. We're both unentangled observers and transmitters.
Right.
So there is a limitless update of the Akashic frequency from this world, direct upload to the star and to our solar system, and the solar system spreads it to the rest of the universe for those that are connected to those networks.
I really dig your embodiment. Like that's 24/7. It's not weekend warrior, I'm just here to do it until 6 o'clock. That's like 24/7, 100 days a minute, commitment. I dig it. It's inspiring.
It is. And so turning off energy for me, it could be tough. Sometimes I'll use a TV show. Sometimes I'll just go outside and be the shaman. Other times I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do anything other than just be a human being and drive my car and go get groceries and not be accosted at the grocery store to diva eating.
Oh my God. Well, look, come over to Australia, babes. Come and stay with us for a couple of days and chill out. We live in the most beautiful, it's subtropical hinterland. And actually, that's what I'd really like to ask you. Can you have a look at the land here and talk a little bit about its history? Because I'm really connecting with the Devas of the land, and it's such a beautiful place and so much history that's not recorded correctly.
Okay. So you're just outside of Sydney?
No, I'm in I don't know why it's come up as I'm in Byron Bay.
Oh, you're in Byron Bay. Hold on.
Yeah, Sedona by the beach.
Did you live in Adelaide?
Never. Only just Sydney. But you see, I've visited it, but never lived. No.
Did you do spiritual work there?
No.
Right,
but I will tell you this: I have a connection with an Aboriginal man there. He's in one of the islands off there, and he's a Kano walker. So it could be him. I've done work with him on the inner planes.
Well, this right away was from another paradox timeline expression of a being of you that's quite aware, that is trying to manifest on your timeline some type of disruptive energy into the sacred geometry matrix in Adelaide, Australia. Adelaide is this, I'm just going to call it the cork in the ass that prevents energy coming in that area. So that's the only way I can describe it. You need visceral terms to understand it. It's a big cork. And when you really play with the energies there, you can get that cork to pop, and the earth will let off a tremendous amount of negative energy. And then that area will go through a massive healing. There's this big swamp that's around there that just lights up and lets off billions and billions of new forms of life. Would it be worth a trip there? No, but it would be worth your investigation into why your other self immediately thought you would go there to resolve its creative energy. Do you understand that?
Almost. You cracked up a little bit from the internet connection I've got, and I sort of didn't hear everything that you said. What I heard. No, can you say it again? Sorry, I missed out on some of the words.
Okay, would it be worthwhile for you to going to Adelaide, Australia? The answer is no, unless you were going to go there to do ceremonial ritual to resolve energy. But the bigger question is, you have to ask why one of your alternative selves in another timeline instantly thought that you would do this without question. So what I see is there are other versions of yourself that you've given tacit. It's interesting how we're getting the breaking up here now, because this is literally another self that doesn't want you to have this information.
All right, let me just do something and let's open up.
Yeah, I know. I'm just cranking on the energy. I'm just blasting it out of this reality right now. So just turn on the energy until it can't. The sunlight's too much for it. It's just got to go.
I can hear you really well now.
Yeah. All right. So what it is there's another version of yourself that somehow has gained tacit consent to manipulate your reality through one degree of separation. So every time this being manipulates energy in Adelaide, Australia, something comes your way that's the karma of that being, and there's a program in your body to accept that karma as your debt, and it's not your debt.
Got it.
Okay. So this being is an energy worker on paradox timeline number 3, and what they're doing is geomancy control. And in their fraud history, it's at about 1949, 1950. So their version of World War II has ended, and the world's much more destroyed. More nuclear bombs went off. But what he's trying to do is to manipulate the energy so his world heals faster than our world. And he's become a geomancy zealot.
Oh dear.
And it's time for you to begin to tell him you cannot manipulate the weather in my reality and expect me to hold the debt for what you're creating. You can be a transfer point, but you cannot
so
go housing.
I've got to look at the contracts around that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we lost you again. Are you there?
Yes, say again.
So again, this is literally a spiritual battle that's going on. So what I want you to do is just focus on your voice, and let's just get this cleared through. All right. Wow. I had like 7 or 8 other things that just popped up, and here we go. Just clear this out. You've gone through some betrayals.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We need to address some of these betrayals, because right away when we got to the universal frequency healing, these betrayals have dead man switches. So whenever you're going to have a universal awakening moment, there are beings that have contracted other beings to do a psychic death shot on you. So you could be just at that moment awakening, and pack, somebody hit you in the head with a wrench, and fuck you, no life for you. Okay?
Dig it.
So I'm breaking these off, disconnecting these from your crown chakra. I just want you to repeat after me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shock some of these entities with some I am presence work.
Yes.
So just repeat after me. I, in this ever-present moment,
I, in this ever-present moment,
choose to open a spiritual cord of equity.
Choose to open a spiritual cord of equity.
I summon all of my ancestors.
I summon all of my ancestors
Who honor unity consciousness.
to honor unity consciousness.
I summon my unity consciousness self.
I summon my unity consciousness self.
And I grant it this temporary moment
And I grant it this temporary moment
to be in co-creation with this I am presence.
to be in co-creation with this I am presence.
So we may audit,
So we may audit
all other versions of ourself we're getting more breaking up here. We can audit all other versions of ourself.
We can audit all other versions of ourselves
and bring them back to zero balance. I summon the source stream that is me.
I summon the source stream that is me
To bond.
To bond.
With this temporary unity I am presence.
This temporary unity I am presence.
So I may find all my external realities.
So I may find all my external realities.
That are creating source streams into me.
That are creating source streams into me.
I close all of these portals.
I close all of these portals.
And any energy trying to go through them.
And any energy trying to go through them.
Instantly comes to the spiritual cord of equity.
Instantly comes to the spiritual cord of equity.
So it may deal with all the ancestors in unity consciousness.
So it may deal with all the ancestors in unity consciousness.
And I am no longer entangled with that system in any way, shape, or form.
And I am no longer entangled with that system in any way, shape, or form.
This I am presence has made its declaration.
This I am presence has made its declaration.
And so be it.
And so be it.
That was very powerful.
It was rocking my world.
All right, so just take a breath there. And what other kind of questions might you be able to follow that one with?
Let's talk about the elemental realm, because I really think that, that's the next frontier. Apart from dematerializing out of this one and into that one, I think that uniting with the energies and understanding the energies of
I can't hear anything you're saying.
Oh, fuck, I have to start again, right?
All right, so I'm not sure what's breaking you up there. We've already reached the 30-minute mark, and that's where we got to end the recording, because we can only make each recording 47 minutes. This has been really, really special. I'd like to have you on again.
I'll do it myself.
All right. I'm going to have Tanach get a hold of you in the next week, and I want to do a follow-up reading show with you.
Fantastic. I'd love that. That'd be really good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye.